Hi everybody, if you're watching this video, that means you have bought the Sew Your Own Onigiri kit. And this video will be an instructional video to show you exactly how to sew it all by yourself in case the instructions on the back just aren't clear enough for you, or if you just want a little extra help. Let's get right to it. Alright, so I have all the materials here that will be included in your kit. So the printed fabric with the onigiri on it, 4 pins, a needle threader, a needle, and thread. So I'm going to follow the instructions so that you can follow along with me. So the first step is to lay the fabric so that the soft sides are touching each other. And you want to line up the lines so that they are with each other. So now we're going to take our pins and pin it together in the 4 corners of it. Okay, we'll set this to the side. So next we're going to have our needle thread, and our thread. Now for the thread, to get it, if it's not popping up like this one is, you just kind of rub your fingers around it all the way and eventually it'll kind of just unfold like that. So we're going to take a section of thread about 1 arm's length and cut it. Now the way to use a needle threader is that you put the needle threader through the tip of through the eye of the needle, like so. I can get it in there. There we go. So through there like that, and then we put the thread through the hole in the needle threader. That doesn't fall out of me. Once you have the thread through, you pull the needle threader back through and it threads the needle. So, traditional sewing, you would just have one end hanging loose and the other end of the thread be your knot. I personally like to pull the threads so that they're in line with each other in order to do my knot, like you can see there. So the way you make your knot is that you take the end of your thread, you wrap around your index finger like so, and then you roll it with your thumb, pinch, and pull it to the end. There we go. And that leaves a nice little knot. So now we are going to begin. You want to make sure you're sewing about 1/4 of an inch in all the way around. So mostly so that you capture the black and you don't have any white showing between the black part and the dotted line. And we're going to start on one side of the black section at the bottom. Start pulling your thread through. And the method of stitching we're going to use here is called a back stitch. And the way you back stitch, is that you put the needle through the fabric and go halfway so that your previous point is halfway through your stitch. You pull it through, and then you make your next point start on that previous stitch. So in this case, it's the knot. And then once again, you go halfway through of the previous point, and you just do that over and over and over until you get all the way around. So if at any point you're sewing, your thread starts to get a little shorter, you can tie a knot so that, and then start over with a new thread so that you can just keep going. I caught my thread around it in there. Do that a million times. So the way you tie your knot is that you grab a little bit of fabric right next to your previous stitch, and you pull it part way through so you have a loop on one side and your needle on the other side. Now you're going to go put your needle through that loop and pull the first loop shut so that you have another loop in your needle. Put your needle through that second loop and pull the whole thing tight. And you do that twice, and that'll give you a nice knot. So I go through my loop, and then through my second loop. Now we're going to cut the thread, and then we'll re-thread our thread and start again. So now we've finished sewing all the way around. I'm going to do my final knot here. My thread doesn't get all tangled on me. There we go. By going through my loop, and then going through my second loop. Let's do that again. Snip our thread. We're going to set our needle off to the side in a safe place. I'm going to put them in my pincushion, but for you it might be a good idea to put it back in the little coin envelope so that you don't lose it. So now we're going to pull out our pins now that we've sewn. Also put those in the safe place so they don't get lost. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim the fabric all the way around, and yeah, started doing that. And you want to trim about ½ inch out from your stitching, maybe a little less, just outside the dotted line basically. And we're going to throw the scraps away. And I also unpacked our stuffing. There should be plenty of stuffing for you. So next what we're going to do is we're going to trim our fabric. In the corners, we're going to cut out V's. On the midpoints, we're going to make little slits, and we're also going to make slits on either side of the opening on the bottom. And this is to relieve stress from the seams when we turn it right side out so that it actually lays flat when we do turn it, because otherwise it will not, it will pucker. And that does not make for a good plush. When you're cutting out your V's, they do not have to be like that. You do not have to remove the fabric from the V, you just got to get the cut there. And you want to cut pretty close to your stitching, but make sure not to cut your stitching because that would be bad. If you do happen to cut your stitching by mistake, just pull out the section of fabric, the section of thread that was in that section, and redo that section with your needle and thread. So now we're going to turn them right side out by pushing from the tip with our finger all the way through the bottom so it pokes out the hole. Pull it through and flatten them out. Alright, so now we're going to start stuffing our plush by using small sections of stuffing and pushing it all the way to the back or the tip of the head of the plush and working our way towards the hole. You want to make sure you break it into sections, because if you just stuff the whole thing in there, it's not going to have a very good shape, and you're not gonna, your plush is gonna look very lumpy. And really make sure to stuff firmly into your corners so that they get a nice shape to them. So now you want to leave a little bit of stuffing sticking out so that when we sew this shut, you don't have a dent in the bottom of your plush. You want to make sure it's firm all the way to the end. You can kind of squish them around to get them to be a little bit more even. So now we're going to take our needle and thread back. I still have a little bit of thread left on mine, but if you need more thread, go ahead and re-thread your needle. Tie my knot here by wrapping around my finger, rolling it and pulling it tight. So now what we're going to use to sew this shut is a ladder stitch. And if you look on your instructions, there's a nice little diagram here. And the way the ladder stitch works is that you want to make each stitch length the same length as the beginning and end of the previous stitches, so that you have nice parallel lines. So, I can pick up my needle here. So we're going to start on the inside of the plush, coming out so that our knot is hidden inside of the plush. So now we're going to start our first stitch directly across from where the thread is coming out, and just go perpendicularly across there. So then your next stitch, you want it to be directly across from where your thread is coming out, so that you have the same distance between each stitch. So you have these nice parallel lines there. All the way across. Once you get to the end here, you want to grab a little bit of fabric to tie your knot. So you go through your loop, pull the previous one tight, and then go through your second loop and tight. Do that again directly on top of the previous knot. Like that. Before you cut your thread, you're going to put your needle right where your knot was and push it through the plush, out the other side of the plush, so you have it like this. Take your scissors, pull the thread tight, and cut very close to the plush so that your thread snaps back inside and is hidden away. And there you have it, a nice finished onigiri plush. And there you have it, your own onigiri plush. Thank you for watching this video. If this video wasn't helpful enough for you, feel free to comment below or message me on my Facebook at facebook.com/SuperKawaiiStudios. and I will be more than willing to help you with any problems you might have. If you are watching this video and you haven't got the Onigiri plush kit, the link to buy your own so that you can watch this video and learn how to sew it, the link for the kit is in the description below. Thanks for watching!